So the backstory of how I ended up with a Nissan Z Proto is actually quite interesting. I originally ordered just a grey Nissan Z from the salesman that sold me my Nissan Navara. And he said that he would put me at the front of their queue, like the first of their customers. Now, in the meantime, Nissan backflipped on that agreement and basically said whenever the date is when you get it. The entire launch of the Z has been a bit of a shamble, no information, no idea when it's coming, nothing. In the meantime, a friend of mine from Colton Classic had a Z Proto and he said, hey, do you want access to that? Because I've got a change in business and family, another kid on the way, etc. And do you want the car? And I said, man, I'm not sure. It depends the gap between your car and my car. And then when I got that call saying that my car was potentially, you know, who knows how far away, and his Proto was actually here, which is really weird because we were told that they're all going to get delivered same time, then they came out in dribs and drabs. I said, you know what, let's look at it, work out a deal and see if I can get this Proto so we can get into Z development quickly. I may then sell it and get my grey one later, I'm not sure. Let's just do it and see what happens. And he said, all right, let's go. So I paid a little bit over retail for it, which is fine because he deserves a little bit of a clip for allowing me to have access to this car because he's been offered a lot more than I'm paying for it, which is, you know, a pretty good of them to hold it for me. So I'm on the way to pick it up now. I've actually never seen a Z in real life. I've never driven one. This is it. It's my first time seeing it in real life. It's my first time seeing any Z in real life. It's my first time driving it. And of course it's raining in Sydney because that's all it does here now. So what are we going to do with it? Let's talk more about that later. Let's get it, get driving and start that Z life. Well, here we go, first drive in the Nissan Z Proto. Once again, I've bought a car without driving it, just like the Supra. And of course, it's raining and we're in suburbia, so I can't do much. Clutch feels pretty good. It's got decent engagement. You'd expect it to be relatively heavy duty and a torquey, high-powered car. Gearbox is all right, a little bit notchy, could just be because it's cold. Yeah, in wet weather, it's going to be pretty undrivable. I don't think we're going to get a very indicative drive right now of what the Z is really like. All I will tell you is there's 100 other YouTubers and journalists that you can watch to find out every little detail about the Z is like to drive on the road. I will just say this, it's a new car, drives great. What's it like to live with? I won't be able to tell you that for a few weeks. But here's the other thing, this is motive video, so we really care more what's it like on a twisty road, what's it like at the racetrack, what's it like at the drags, that's what we care about. So when we get to go do that, that's when we'll really talk about what the Z is really like. And the other reason we're not going to get to talk very much right now about the Z is, well, it's a very short first drive, because where I picked it up to Croydon Racing Developments is less than 10 minutes, so we're going to CRD to plug in the ECU, see if it can be read and if we can tune this thing straight away. Let's go. Yeah, it's a stop work. There's a Z here meeting. Hey, mate.
I can hear all the talk going on inside.
So we're at Croydon Racing Developments with the Z straight away for a few reasons. One, the boys wanted to see the car. They want to start development ASAP. Obviously we want to look at software stuff with EcoTech, so Croydon are going to order the new EcoTech software for the Z and get it done straight away. They also wanted to have a quick look over the car, see what's going on. Straight away you see with the covers off it has water to air intercoolers, electronic valve valves, looks like it's got electronic wastegates too, so it's a lot to look at. And we decided, stuff it, let's put it on the dyno right now. Spark plugs are going to be a nightmare to change. You have to pull off the intercoolers to get to them and heaps of stuff out of the way. So changing spark plugs, bad idea. Very, very cramped engine bay. Like think R35 spec. It is not going to be an enjoyable car to work on. There is heaps of room inside the front bar for a larger charge cooler, which I think it's going to need. Looking at these intercoolers, they're pretty small. AMS already make an upgraded intercooler, but I think you'll need a bigger charge cooler down in here. More than half of the charge cooler, the airflow is actually blocked by the Rio or the crash bar. So there's heaps of, I guess, potential to improve how good the charge cooler works at least. I think that's power steering cooler down the bottom, radiator aircon. Can't see the engine oil cooler from where we're looking, so not sure if it has one. We'll keep looking, but yeah, we have found out a few things. Fuel system wise, obviously it is direct injection. Twin rails coming off the one high pressure pump. Fuel feed's pretty small. How much fuel will this thing flow? I guess we'll find out. Air filters look pretty straightforward. I'm not sure there's going to be any power gains to be had with an intake by looking at it, but we do know there is a gains to be had in the exhaust. So our first step will be to get a full exhaust system on the car, including dump pipes, and get it tuned, and then basically just go from there.
Yeah, surprising to be honest. So it made good power for where it's at.
Well, the numbers are in. The first Z that we know of dynoed in Australia. It made a little bit more than I thought it would. I was predicting about 260, 265. Ended up making 274 kilowatts at the back hubs. It was actually quite repeatable. We noticed that we did 6 or 7 runs in a row, and we only saw a loss of 2 kilowatts or sort of 3 horsepower, even with that much heat soak in it, back-to-back run after run. So that was pretty good. We also tried pulling the air filters out, and it actually made less power, so didn't like not having air filters in there. We then pulled the cotton covering off the air filter, and that made 0 difference. So potentially at this power level, intake will probably do nothing, or if anything, go backwards with the factory ECU. So we just thought we'd try those as a little test, but overall, pretty happy. 274 kilowatts at the back hubs is pretty damn good for a factory car. Looking at that exhaust though, it is tiny. Can't wait to change the exhaust, get the EcoTech tune in at CRD and start making some more grunt with this thing and get it to the track as soon as the weather lets us. Well, while we're waiting for performance parts and EcoTech software for our Z so we can start extracting more power, I wanted to see what different wheel and tyre combinations would fit. Why? Well, I want to put 18s on to go circuit racing, and I want to put drag radials on to go to the drag strip. So we've got a bunch of wheel and tyres that I own, so we can start testing them, see what works, what doesn't. Let's do it. So these factory wheels on the Proto are Ray's Engineering forged wheels. So yeah, they're pretty good. How big are they? 19 by 10 plus 30 on the back. So that gives us an idea of where we can start going with these things. So the first thing I wanted to check is that drag radials fit. These are a 17 by 9 plus 18. They fit pretty easily. The 275, so much room on the inside here. If we could get a less aggressive offset, we could fit much bigger rubber. But we'll get it on the ground and have a look, but most importantly, the 17s clear the brake calipers on the back. So I don't think every 17 on the market will clear the back, but these ones do. Let's get on the ground. So as a first, I guess, initial basic measurement, there's a good 60 or 70 millimeters more clearance on the inside of this tyre, and I reckon at least 10 to 20 millimeters on the outside. This is a 275 drag radial. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you could fit like a 305 295 to 315 drag radial in there somewhere. We do have a set of 19-inch drag radial, so I think we're going to get them fitted up to a spare set of rims and see if they fit. Yeah, I think we're going to get some pretty big rubber under the back of the Z. So these are an 18 by 10 plus 15 with a 295 R comp on it. So we'll give these a go next. So the overall diameter of the tyre is wrong in this application. This is a 295/30/18. This needs more like a 295/35 at a minimum, if not a 295/40 to get the overall profile correct compared to factory. But what I will say is this, in an 18 by 10 plus 15, if you look, you've already got the rim pretty flush with the guard. So what you want to do with the Z is you actually want less aggressive offset so you can get the tyre to go inwards more. So this 295 fits no problem. So fitting massive rubber is not an issue. It's just that when you go for like a 10.5 plus 15, it'll actually start to poke out. So you really need something more like, especially in a 10.5, instead of going plus 15, you want more like plus 30 to try and get the thing back in. We have heaps of room on the inside. We've still got 70 millimeters or so of space inwards. So if you want to make the most of getting a big tyre under a Z, less aggressive offset as you get wider to try and go inwards, not outwards. So realistically though, even this 18 by 10 plus 15 is sitting pretty perfectly flush. So if it was a 10.5, I'd want a plus 22 to get it right. So, but man, I reckon we can fit, I reckon you could fit a 12-inch rim on the back, as long as you've got the offset correct. But let's keep playing around and see what fits. So I've actually got a set of 3 70Z raised engineering wheels as well. I got these, I guess, as skid wheels or drag wheels or whatever. They're exactly the same width and offset, so 19 by 10 plus 30, so they fit no problem. We're going to see if we can get the 315 drag radial onto these and if it fits under the car. So that's we need to go get those fitted up and check. The other thing I want to do is check the weight, the old raised wheels versus the new ones. 22.2. Whoa! How much of that is tyre and how much is rim? Can't tell with the tyres on, but they've both got a 275/35/19, so, you know, is what it is. Now I was going to try some 18 by 10.5 plus 15, but I already know from watching other videos and what we've already checked with a 10-inch wide rim plus 15, that's going to poke out too far. So really 10.5 plus 22, but if you want to go any wider, you're going to have to go less offset and bring it inwards, not outwards. So you might be looking at like, you know, 18 by 11 plus 42 or something like that, kind of like what we have with the Supra, to really fill up the guard on the back of the Z. Now I'm going to check the front. More than anything, I want to see if 18s will clear the brakes so that we can run 18s for circuit work. All right, what do we got? So the front is a 19 by 9.5 plus 40. So not bad. The rims I'm going to try are 18 by 9.5 plus 22. So they're going to be coming out 18 millimeters, so quite a fair way. So let's see how they go, shall we? So some 18s that I have here at the shop to try out the old ones off my GTR, a lightweight wheel that should clear brakes, the AME GTV. These are an 18 by 9.5 plus 22. Perfect fitment for the front of a GTR. So these are basically the same width as what came off, but the thing is they sit 18 millimeters further out, so a more aggressive offset. Let's see if they fit. Clear the brakes, no problem. Let's see how they fit on the ground, sit on the ground. So the profile of this tyre is wrong. It needs a 265/40, not a 265/35. But in terms of looking at how far the wheel sits out, where the tyre sits, etc., honestly, that's pretty much bang on. With a little bit of camber in the front, which we will do with coilovers, I think it'll sit just right. So 18 by 9.5 plus 22 on the front, or obviously 19 by 9.5 plus 22 is on the money. With a 265, even a 275 tyre should do the trick. So there we go, and 18s clear the brakes. So one option for me is I actually keep this set of wheels for the front and get a bigger set for the back. Let's see what's available. All right, let's weigh the fronts now. 24.3 kilos. Actually pretty heavy. $20.8 kilos. So there is almost 4 kilos difference between running the 18 by 9.5 with that tyre and the 19 by 9.5. So for circuit racing, there are certainly reasons to go to an 18, that's for sure, to get the unsprung mass down. The entire car at this rate will come down by probably close to 15 kilos when you add it all up. So that's significant unsprung mass to lose. So we'll definitely be going 18s for circuit work. But let's see if we can get some drag ratings on these 19s. So luckily the guys at our local My Car Tyre and Auto North Rocks managed to fit these up at like 4:45 in the afternoon. These are the 305 drag radials we had on the back of the Supra. Now on the back of the Supra, it had a lot less aggressive offset, but it was still a 10-inch wide rim. So we know it fits on that width rim, it's just more about the offset now. So yeah, we're gonna see if these 305, 35, 19 drag radials fit. And if they look like they're close to fitting, we'll probably need to get a test drive when the weather's better though, and see if they really do fit, because I'd love to get these on there because I know how well they work at the track. Great success. I reckon bounce for me.
This doesn't seem dodgy.
I reckon that's going to fit. I reckon it fits.
Yep.
Yeah! All right, I'm very, very happy that these fit. A 305 19 drag radial on the old Nismo wheels, fits under the back. It looks like it clears. We put some weight in the back, tried to bounce it a bit, and it looks like it's going to tuck up in there nicely. So at standard ride height, they fit, which is great because these tyres worked really well on the Supra, and obviously it's pretty wide rubber. Because if we want to try and get like a 295 or a 305 and a 17, we're going to get custom wheels and all sorts of stuff. But we've already got these tyres, which means we can get testing at the drag strip very soon. All we need to do is wait for this stupid weather to clear in Sydney. So looking under the car, there's a fair bit of bracing at the back on the subframe, something they did on the R34 GTR, exactly like this. Tail shaft is really beefy, drive shafts look pretty good, suspensions obviously, we all know it's the same as the old Z, I don't know, depending on what country you're from. But what's spinning me out is the size of this exhaust, 45 millimeters, so it's like 1 3/4 inches. They weren't joking, it is less than 2 inches in that point of the exhaust. Now, you come down, it joins into one here. The thinnest point of single exhaust is 65 millimeters. So what's that? It's a little bit over 2.5 inch. So the single part of the exhaust is 2.5 inch. So you already know there's gains to be had. You get up here, yeah, just as bad. It's like 1 3/4 inch. Now here's the thing, you could replace that entire catback section to here, but you've still got 1 3/4 inch on the other side of this flange. So really, you need to be replacing this section here, the front pipe section and the dump pipe section, to really get big power gains. And we've already seen people prove this already. So a catback, I think, is purely for noise, while the performance to be had is in the front pipe and dump pipe, which I can't wait to change.